And everyone, welcome back to Breslov Efrat, Baruch Hashem, here at Shira David. Baruch Hashem, we had a beautiful minyan today. Wow, Baruch Hashem. We sometimes we daven, but let's stop for thinking. Baruch Hashem, we got to daven to Hashem. We heard Kriyas HaTorah, right? Beautiful. Come on. Beautiful things, right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Let's not take anything for granted. This is the week of Hodah. We have to give thanks to Hashem. Right? To stop and think about things. Okay, so we're going to continue learning about Sefira. And Mitzvah Hashem tonight is going to be Lag Baimer. It's a question if you could say Lag Baimer later in the day.
Say Lag Baimer.
Like in the afternoon, if you want to talk about Lag Baimer, right? That's a question. If you'll then be able to count the Sefira at night.
Oh, okay.
So you can make it tonight. You could make it tonight. Right? You could make it tonight. You could say, what's that? Okay, you can make it tonight. You can make a condition like if I mention anything to do with Lag Baimer, it's not considered. I'm not considering that to be counting. Okay, I'm not considering that to be. I could say it now. Also, you can make it tonight. If I mention anything and someone asks me, "What are you doing on Lag Baimer?" Whatever, and I talk about Lag Baimer, so it's not like I count because if you counted in the afternoon, you said 33 in the afternoon. So it's a question if you were able to count or not, so then you can't make the blessing at night. You understand? So you can make it. If I mention anything about Lag Baimer, I don't want it to count as my as counting. It's just discussing the topics of the day, and that's it. Okay, now today is Hayom Shnayim U'Shleishim Yom Shem Arba Shvuos Arba Yomim L'Omer. So today is the 32nd day. 4 weeks and 4 days into the Omer. And today is the Midah of Netzach Shebahot. Netzach, there we go, Netzach. We need victory, right? We need victory. Okay, Netzach is victory. Netzach is eternity. Netzach is Moshe Rabbeinu. Right? Torah's Moshe is Nitzchias. It's all of eternity. And Hod is Aharon HaKohen. Always thanking Hashem and always finding good in everybody and so on and so forth. That's Aharon HaKohen, right? Oyev Shalom, V'roidev Shalom, Oyev Esabris Mekavim LaTorah, LaKodesh Baruch Hu, right? That's what it's all about. So yeah, he says today, we'll see here. Yitein Ali, Ki Yesh Loi LaHasmid U'Lekayim L'Netzach. Right? If you want ki yesh lahasman l'kayim netzach es hayda asay labaris bach. If you want your hayda to be constant and you want to always be able to thank Hashem and see the goodness in your life, the haynu liz b'nein l'chol eis b'protim ha'avoyim ima. You have to think of all the things that transpire with you during the day. Think of all the different things, how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing such good things for us all day long, and recognize them. Stop and think. But he says you have to be misbaining. The problem is if you don't think, things just pass by. If you stop to think it through, wow, you see something special here. Think it, see it through. Okay? Al kulam la'bayis barach nimsa mashlam masagas midas hahoida yedei midas hanetzach. You can be mashlam the midah of netzach because I'm constantly working on finding. I'm constantly working on finding what to praise Hashem for. Right? Okay. He says another one here. This is beautiful. Yizbayni b'datei v'yishav elibay. Think in your mind and place this in your heart. Right? Put it into your heart. Right? Sometimes the mind and the heart is very distant, very far away. It's not physically far away, but sometimes the heart and the mind are miles and miles apart. Ki kedei sheyizke liitein hayda la'abayrei v'tiyei hayda asay ritzuya mukabeles lefanav ki karban tahida. If you want to give thanks to Hashem, you want to be accepted by Hashem as if you're bringing a sacrifice. Karban toda. Thank you offering. Yesh loy lahasig nitzchayin al yitzra. You have to work on being victorious on the Yetzer Hara. You have to work on that. That's the best thing to do, right? We just learned that yesterday in Likutey Halachos, right? The best thing is to teach somebody not to do a sin, right? Not to give in to the Yetzer Hara. Ubefrat al yitzra hamitordoi uma'anai milizbainain b'yasoidei yamuna. Especially when you Yetzer Hara stops you from thinking about things of the side of Emunah. Think of Emunah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is everywhere. Kol ma David Rachman l'tav of it. Right? Shivisi Hashem l'negdi summit. Right? These are things that the Yesodis of our Emunah. But the Yetzer Hara doesn't let you think about that. Right? He doesn't let you think, because if you think about that, whoa, Hashem, you with me? Oh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're everywhere? So it means you're here too? So it means if I'm going to do this thing that I'm not supposed to do now, you're here too? So the Yetzer Hara the main thing he tries to do is tries to get us not to think about Emunah. That's what the tzaddikim won't scream today. They're telling you the whole thing is about Emunah. It's all about Emunah today, because that's the device of the Yetzer Hara is to try to get us not to think about Emunah, not to think that Hashem is everywhere. Kedugmas Masha is boinein shakadosh Baruch Hu motzei mashkiach, to think about that HaKadosh Baruch Hu's found here. He's mashkiach. He's watching everything. He's taking care of everything. Like, mashkiach watches everything. He's checking things, right? The first one of the Gimel Ikarim of the Rambam, the 13 principles of faith from the Rambam. The first one, that Hashem is who also v'yasa. Hashem does, did, and will do, and does everything. Takes care of everything. Everything is Meis Hashem. L'chol ha'masem. Uvazeh yispardu ma'olav kol po'li oven. That'll cause you to leave all kinds of aspects of sin. Leave you. Because once you realize, hey, wait a second, Hashem is here. The person stops doing what the things he got involved with. Halayheim kaychosav shel Yetzer Hara. That's the koyach of the Yetzer Hara. V'nimsa masig u'mashlam es midas hahoid. Aydei is b'inenusay b'midas hanetzach. Right? Realize how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is eternal. Right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is eternal. And I have to constantly be fighting my Yetzer Hara to realize that I have to connect to Hashem always. Then I can praise Hashem. Right? Because you got to get the Yetzer Hara out of the equation. So long as he's there, He's not going to let you see things that are good. He's going to show you everything that's bad. He's going to show you everything that's negative. He's not going to let you see the beauty in life. So that's such an important idea that we have to constantly stop, be mizboning. Think of the good things that happen. Right? Be mizboning. Be mizboning. Unbelievable. I mean, look, like let's say even yesterday to us, right? So we had a siren when we finished learning, right? We went into the mamad. To the miklat, whatever. Okay, so we all went in there. Okay, but then we have to Hashem. Well, thank you, Hashem. This thing didn't come here. Wow. They send this missile. They send this thing, and it. Baruch Hashem, we're all okay. Yeah. Come on, but we're just so used to it, right? Yeah. Oh, you just go in there. We go in. All right, we okay. And where did they intercept it? Oh, it was over there. Oh, okay. All right. Well, wait a second. What do you mean they Hashem showed us the other time on that Sunday where the missile landed in the airport, right? So they don't always get it. They didn't always get it, right? Something didn't work. Something didn't work. They didn't get it. Why is Hashem showing us these things? To show you that yesterday they did work, so thank Hashem for that. Right? But the Yetzer Hara doesn't want it. He tells you, look, what's the next thing? Where did they intercept it? Stop for a second. Hey, thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem, right? And also another thing, like we said, when you're gonna go into the miklat, so you're doing a mitzvah. You have to go in b'simcha, right? You're doing a mitzvah, shmatim es nafshay seichem, right? You have to watch yourself, right? You have to protect your life, right? That's a mitzvah deraisa. Anything you do, something that you do to protect your life, that you do something for your health, that's a mitzvah mishmatim es nafshay seichem. You have to do it b'simcha. What's oi? Why?
Eating, overweight. Why?
You eat to be able to serve Hashem, right?
Nourishment.
You need nourishment to serve Hashem. Okay? So basically the lesson today is stop and think so you can be successful. Stop and think so you can be successful against the Yetzer Hara. Okay? And tomorrow, Mitzvah Hashem, we have a nice big piece for the Lag B'Omer. It's unbelievable. Baruch Hashem. All right? Beautiful. What's that?
Good. Okay, good.
Rab Nosson says amazing things about Lag BaOmer, such amazing things. Like one of the things he says is why do we light a fire? What's this idea of lighting this big torch? Right? You light this big fire. Why do you do that? Why can't I just light a candle? When the tzaddik passes away, you light a candle. Well, what's this idea that I'm lighting a big hadlaka? Why do they do that for?
Big candle.
A what?
Big tzaddik, listen, there were big tzaddikim. Come on, Rabbi Akiva was a big tzaddik too. He was Rajbi's Rebbe, right? No, so it works like this. The whole idea of Rabbi Shimon was to bring everybody together. He had a chavivus. There was a everyone liked each other, loved each other. That were all together. And he wanted, and how do you make you have to take all the different candles, put them together. The whole idea is to bring people together. The whole idea of Rabbi Shimon was to bring people together. So when you bring people together, you don't have a little candle. Now you have one from him, one from him, and one from him, one from him. And then before you know it, you have all these candles. You have a big bonfire. Yeah, you like that?
I know, I saw some of that. We start this year the Chesed Shabbat
Yeah.
We get the Malchus Shabbat Malchus.
Right, and Hashem does it the other way. You said.
Yes, I said that.
Yeah, you said yes. And Hashem meets us in the middle.
We meet at Hod Shabbat with the same.
Right. They're all the same. That's right in the center.
Yeah. That's not right in the center.
It's not in the center. No, it's not in the center. But we meet by Hod Shabbat. Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah. Hod Shabbat. Okay. We should be Zaycha to have a beautiful Lag BaOmer. Okay, here we go. So today we're learn in Likutey Halachos. What a schus that we have. Hilchos Netilas Yadayim. All right, we're learning the laws of washing our hands, but not washing our hands like we said for impurities. We're washing our hands because we want to eat bread. We also have to wash off the impurities also there too. Right? We're learning that now. Okay, so today we're in learning Hilchos Netilas Yadayim. We're in Halacha Gimel. And today we're up to base 2. So 3, 2. You have the place of Simcha, Mordechai, David. You have the place. Everyone have the place.
49.
There we go. You have the place. Okay, there we go. Baruch Hashem. Nimsa ikar hapegam biyadayim, b'al kein tzrichin lo seis hayadayim. The main pegam is in the yadayim. We were learning this yesterday that we have the pegam, the blemish, is in the hands. Right? We said that the hands are where the sin rests in the hands, and the whole idea is that we have to remove the impurity from the fingers, right? And that's why we use the water. Okay. Okay. So now he says, "If al kein tzrichin lo seis hayadayim ela mayach," therefore we lift our hands up to the mind. Right? When you wash your hands, so you wash your hands, and then once you finish washing, you lift your hands up. You say, "Su yadeichem kodesh," lift it up to your mind. Lift up the hands to the mind. Right? You get it? Lift your hands to the mind. Ela mayach shu adas v'bechinas su yadeichem kodesh u'vochu es Hashem. What's I?
I'm reading to evoke the sanctity of knowledge.
Yeah, you want to get the knowledge is in the mind, right? So I want to place the hand. I want to place my hands up because I want to get the knowledge. I want to bring the knowledge into me. Suyadeichem kodesh v'ochas Hashem k'dei lahamshich ha'oras ha'kedushas hadas shu bechinas Moshe al yadayim al hayadayim daika, and that's why the story is such an important story with Moshe Rabbeinu when Amalek came to fight us. Right? Who's Amalek? Amalek is the Satan. Amalek is the Yetzer Hara. Amalek is the Malach Hamavet. That's Amalek. He's one of the same. Right? He has different costumes. Right? He comes in different ways. Right? But so when we were fighting, when we had the battle with Amalek, what was the main point of the story? Moshe Rabbeinu's hands. Isn't that amazing? Right? It doesn't tell us much about the battle. It says we were doing well when Moshe Rabbeinu's hands were up. When his hands were high, we were doing well. When his hands went down, then they got covered, they got heavy because of sin. Then we were losing, right? Kedeli notzel ayedeze midei avera, to prepare to save us from avera, because we said that's the greatest thing that you can do is save somebody from doing a sin, because it's the most unnatural thing for a Jew is to do a sin. Right? The most natural thing for a Jew is to come close to Hashem, because the neshama comes from the place underneath the throne of glory, correct? Right? The neshama comes from there. So what does a neshama have anything to do with sin? It's the most unnatural thing for a person, for a Jew, is to sin. Really, we want to do mitzvah. So if any time you help a Jew to not do a sin, you're doing something really, really great, because you're helping the person become who he really is supposed to be. Right? Because like we learned that the chatoyim, the sins, are dependent on the hand, on the way the hands are, because the hands are what bring us to all of what we're doing. I mean, today we understand it, right? People use their phones and their computers. They use their hands to type things, right? They use their hands for sin. Hands are all there, but you could use your hands to do amazing things also.
So that's the action of the sin.
It's through the hands.
Because in our mind, it's not a sin yet. There are sins. No, okay. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mitzaref v'machshava tova l'maisa. Right? There's an idea that if I have a good idea, I have a good thought, I want to do something, I want to do a mitzvah, and whenever something comes up and you couldn't do it, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes that machshava, that thought, and he considers that to be an action. Isn't that amazing? That's a beautiful thing, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mitzaref the machshava l'maisa, right? But when a person has a machshava to do an aveira, but he doesn't do the aveira, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't count that as the aveira. Although he has a problem in his mind. He'll probably wind up doing another aveira. But the aveira itself, if the person thought about it, that's not including avodah zarah. Right? Because avodah zarah, if a person has a thought of avodah zarah, he has to go to the Beis HaMikdash and bring a carbon olah, a burnt offering, right? If a person thought he wants to go eat he wanted to go eat in a non-kosher restaurant, he wanted to have a cheeseburger, whatever, chas v'sholem, right? That would be so delightful. I really want to eat that, but he doesn't do that. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't consider that he ate that cheeseburger, right? You understand that? It's amazing, right? What?
Yeah, I had a kosher cheeseburger recently. Like, I didn't miss anything.
No, a kosher cheese. We're not talking about that today. You have all these other things, right? You what?
It's powerful. The meat is fake.
The meat, right? The whole thing can be fake, right?
No, there was somebody who was experienced in other cheeseburgers, like real ones. He said, like, this is amazing. Like this is like exactly like.
Oh, that's a Yitzhak telling you that.
Like,
it's not
I
true.
didn't miss it. Like, whatever. Cheeseburger. Yeah.
Okay. No, Sasha, I use that as an example. There are other things also. Person think, okay, he's thinking, on Shabbos I'm going to go ride in my car, but he doesn't go ride in his car, right? Okay, he didn't do it. I'm just giving you. It can be any example.
So why do they say here it starts in the hands? Why do they say damage is done mainly to the hands or through the hands?
It's through the hands. The sin goes
starts
through
in the mind.
Starts in the mind. That's why you lift up the hands to the mind.
To give it das.
To give the das, the knowledge of Hashem, that Hashem is there, and I'm not supposed to do sin. Right? So infuse that into the hands, that my hands are not supposed to lead me to do the wrong thing. I want to use my hands to do the right thing. Okay? Now he says, because I want to purify my hands specifically. We're in Gimel and Beis, okay? Al Yedei Meimei Hadas, through the Meimei Hadas. We said the Yam of Chachma, right? We talked about that yesterday, the Yam of Chachma,
right? I wanted to get the Mei Adas. So the Mei, the upper waters, is the Mei Adas, the waters of knowledge. Sheheim Bechinas Yam HaChochma, connected to the Yam HaChochma, the ocean of information, now Chochma, wisdom. Shezeh Adas, and we said, what is that? How does that work? Because you have the revius of water, right? We said a revius of water, which is 5 ounces. That's the measurement of water that we have to wash our hands with, correct? We use a revius, right? A revius has to be at least a revius, which is 5 ounces. And we said that the revius is considered even to be a mikvah when it comes to the araisa, right? If we had the guma, you had a little guma in the ground, a little hole in the ground, and it got filled with water, with rainwater, right? Rainwater, it got filled with it. You can tovel different kalim in there, midiyaraisa, right? So we're taking that same revius of water. That would be, so it's k'ilu a mikvah, and I'm pouring that on my hands to purify my hands. It's fascinating. Shezed hadas matzil umetayer es yisol mikol avonis, and that's the das that can protect and purify a Jew from all different sins. Because again, the sins are dependent on the hands. And this I do before I eat. Specifically, so that way my food, I can then take away the idea of sin from my hands. I can, by washing my hands with that revius of water, right, with that measurement that could be of a mikvah min Torah, and I wash my hands with that. So that way when I sit and eat, I can think. Again, be mizboneh, right? Like we keep learning about that. Think. Wow, look at this beautiful sandwich Hashem gave me. Wow, look at this beautiful bread. This bread had an opportunity to one time be matzah. But they added into it or they added into it the yeast, and they added it all to the other things. But realize it's all matzah. It's all Hashem. It's all Hashem. We find Hashem. I mean, this is the week of Pesach Sheni. We just passed Pesach Sheni, but this is a special week, the week of Hod, right? So we have to think about this idea of matzah, right? The idea of matzah all the time. That it should be a aras haratzon. Okay, now Gimel says, so now we just learned all this important thing that you have to wash your hands with the revius of water, which is the measurement of mikvah, right? And it can protect you from sin. So now if somebody, and Gimel now he says, one that cheapens, he doesn't need it. He doesn't find that washing my hands is such an important thing. He doesn't get it. He doesn't understand it. And he eats his bread without washing his hands. So now, wait a second, he's not going to have the aras haratzon. He's not going to connect back. He's not going to find Hashem in there because he has the sin with his hands. Wow. That's like eating from the Eitz Hadas Tovara, where they just took the fruit, no thought, no nothing, and they just ate it. That's like eating from the tree of knowledge, good and bad. Okay, shekoilo kol avonis shebetayra, within that included all the averis of the Torah, because everything came about through the eating of that fruit. Whatever it was, some say that it was chita, some say it was an esrog. It's different opinions what it was. It doesn't matter what it was. Whatever it was, Hashem said, don't eat from that tree, right? And they ate from it. And when I wash that, if I take a piece of bread, like the ones that believe that it was chita, so if I take the piece of bread, if I take that piece of bread and I don't wash my hands, it's as if I'm doing the same thing. I'm eating from the tree. I'm doing the same damage. They took, right? Take it, vatikach, right? It was taken. They took from the tree. What do you take it with? Your hands. They didn't just bite into the fruit on the tree. They took the fruit off the tree. They plucked the fruit off the tree, and they ate from the tree. Ve'ikar ha'pegam she'ochlu machol she'ein meir b'yoras haratzon. That's the idea, that it doesn't have in it the oras haratzon because it wasn't the right time. See, when it came to the Eitz Hadas Tov Ra, Hashem told them don't eat from it at that time. That was before Shabbos. Had they have not eaten it before Shabbos, on Shabbos they could have eaten from it. You understand? It wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right time. It's unbelievable. They were only six. It was the 6th hour into the day. Adam wasn't even a day old. It was only about no. It was the 9th hour, whatever, 9th hour into the day. He was only 6 hours old. and he already made this great sin that we're still dealing with today, right? Ki harotzon hu lemala min hakol afilu min hadas de kedusha. The rotzon, will, desire, wanting to serve Hashem is higher than even the das of kedusha, right? When a person has that will, that rotzon, that he wants to serve Hashem, that's such an amazing thing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu considers that the most precious thing when I want to serve Hashem. Sometimes Hashem gives us all of our challenges just to see what our rotzon is. He knows maybe we're not going to do it, but do I want to do it? The rotzon, it's all about rotzon. Isn't that amazing, right? Want to say something, Sasha? Yaniv?
No, I'm just thinking that sometimes I would think that Hashem likes it more when you don't have the rotzon and you do it, because it gives it, like, for example, you missed Mincha Mariv and you have to daven now. The last Mariv is at 10 o'clock and you're sitting at home.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I got to drive 20 minutes to get to Mariv and Alon Shvut. That not wanting to do it and then pushing yourself to do it, is that considered ratzon or is that considered?
No. That's you're being misgaber over your ratzon. That you're being misgaber. Your ratzon, I want to sit on the couch.
Yes, right.
And I could daven right here now. What's the big deal?
Does Hashem like it when we want?
Yeah,
like,
no.
I got it. I'm going with the havut. Or
No, that's always better. But if you go, but again, if you actually go do it, so that's great. You have to. There's a battle going on inside you, right? That's the Eitzar is battling you, right? Now, let's see. I'll sit on the couch. No, we're not going to go. I'm going to go. I'm not going to go. I'm going. So then you won the battle. So thank Hashem. Hey Hashem. Hey, thank you Hashem. I just won that battle. I didn't know I was going to win this battle, but I won the battle. Thank you Hashem for guiding me and helping me to win the battle. We learned that in the Svartim Lachem, right? Thank Hashem when we learned that on the idea of Gevura Shebahot, right? When you conquer the Yetzer Hara, thank Hashem. Thank Hashem that I was able to do that. Thank Hashem that He gave you the guidance to do that. But he was saying here that the idea of rotzon. Sometimes a person wants to learn something, but he can't get to do it or whatever. He has a good will. He wants something. He wants to do something. He wants to feel close to Hashem, right? People want to have a feeling. I want to feel close to you, Hashem, right? You want to work on it. But again, that's something we have to work on. You can't it's not passive. Yeah. Like Rabbi Kramer was learning the other day, you have to go and do and see. Go and see. You have to do something, right? But having the rotzon itself is something special. Yeah, v'sham bechinas rotzon ein shum achizas hasitra acha klal. The sitra acha has no control over your will, your desire, what you want to do. If you want to do something positive, he doesn't have a desire. He may fight you not to do it.
He has influence.
He can influence you not to do it, but you still can have that desire to want to do it. And we just said before that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mitzaref the machshava tova lemaisa. Right? When you have a good thought and a good ratzon to do something, Hashem considers as if you did it already. Right? As you did it already. That's why it's so important that if you win the Yetzer Hara, thank Hashem, right? Because Hashem, you're rooting for me. Like we keep saying, Hashem is always rooting for me. For all of us, Hashem is rooting for us to make sure that we're successful. He wants us to be successful.
They use in here the illumination of desire, and I'm not connecting with what that means relative to what we're talking about.
The illumination of desire, right? The illuminate desire, Ratzon, the will.
Desire is Ratzon?
Yeah. Yeah, ratzon, desire, will. My will, what I will to do, what I want to do. Okay? Kiloi b'machshava is beriru, right? That all of the things, all the clarifications, the toiv and ra, are all done in the machshava, right? The machshava has to work out. This is good. This is not good, right? Like we learned the ideas when we made the hilchas, when we're making the brachas in the morning. Lahavkin bein yom uvein laila, right? Hakadosh Baruch Hu gives me the opportunity to see what's day, what's good, what's laila, what's not good. Hakadosh Baruch Hu helps us with that, right? Okay, aval lemala min hamachshava, lemala min hadash, shu bechinas haratzon, shu lemala min hakol. The will transcends everything. My desire to want to serve Hashem, to be close to Hashem, is the most precious thing that Hashem has. He feels for us. When we have that desire, I want to be close. I want to keep the mitzvahs.
So how do we create will?
Through his bodedut. Talking to Hashem. Talking to Hashem. You talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you tell Hashem what's troubling you, and you tell him, please, I want help with this. And then by you doing that, you turn it into a will, because now I spoke about it.
He spoke about it.
Right, it helps the person, right? Ein lohem shum achiza, and the Sitra Achra has he has no hold on that. He has no hold on the idea when a person has the rotzen ki valkein rotza Hashem yizbor shelo yoichel adam arishon rak achila shu kulei bechinas aras rotzen. Hakadosh Baruch Hu wanted. Hakadosh shelo yoichel adam arishon rak achila shu kulei bechinas aras rotzen. Eat things that are all rotzen. In other words, Adam Arishon, Hashem said to him, eat anything you want. Eat anything you want. Just don't eat this. So what does he do? He doesn't eat anything else. He just eats that. It's crazy, right? It's crazy when you think about it. He had everything there. Eat anything you want, but just don't eat this. Unbelievable. Avalamata min harotzon sheyesham yesh eza achiza lebechinas eitza das tevera misham lo yoichel klal. Don't eat at all. Don't eat at all. So here we're saying like this. Really, a person should never be mezalzel the mitzvah of washing their hands. It's a very, very important thing. If you can eat bread, wash your hands. Some people think, maybe I can put the sandwich in a paper. If I'm holding it in a plastic bag, I don't have to wash. Right? We're not talking about that you don't have that you're in a place that you don't have the option to wash. We're talking about that the sink is 2 feet away from you, and you have the cup there, and then you just decide, I don't know, why do I got to get up and wash my hands for? That's being mezalzel the mitzvah of netilas yadayim. That's a terrible thing, right? Okay, so it's very important to wash our hands when we're going to eat our bread. Ki ikar brias ha'adam haya b'shvil bechinas haratzon. The whole idea Adam Rishon was created so he should have the right desire, the desire to come close to Hashem. What happened with Adam Rishon? Adam Rishon could have thought, wow, Hashem, you just created me. You created me, Hashem. Adam Rishon didn't have a mother and a father. Right? He was created by Hashem. Right? He could have thanked Hashem for creating him. He could have thanked Hashem, but what does the Yetzer Hara tell him instead? Well, Hashem doesn't want you to eat from this tree because Hashem ate from this tree, and that's how he became a god. So he doesn't want any competition.
Well, how would Adam have known that?
How would he have known that?
How would he know? I mean, he's just born. It's like an infant. If Hashem didn't give him that dad, he wouldn't have known.
He was born as a human being.
Right.
He was a full adult.
Yeah, it's not true though.
Huh?
Hashem became Hashem because he ate from the tree. That's not true.
I understand, but that's what the Yetzer Hara told him. So how is he?
That's what the Nachash told him.
Nachash told him that. The Nachash told him that. But he could have said, but it doesn't matter what Hashem still created me, and he told me that I can't eat from this. So why am I going to do that? It was my only command. He said, just don't do that. That's it. It's hard to understand that, right? It's hard to understand.
Possible.
What's that? That's the Monday morning, the Monday morning quarterback, they call it. What do they say? What? Yeah. B'shvil b'chinas ratzon. Sheyizke b'shleimus l'b'chinas ratzon. Shezeh tachlis ha'shleimus. That's the main thing. Kamuvim b'divrei Rabbeinu Zechleinu Levracha b'kama m'kayim zefratei b'seforav shesipar imanu kitzas kvar nitvosu b'sichas Haran, as he wrote in Sichas Haran. Rabbeinu Rabban shel kol ha'neviim. Tachlis shleimus be'eis histalkusa yoya sheigia letachlis shleimus harotzen shenestalik b'seif b'chinas Rav the Ravin rotzen sheberotzen. So we learned the idea that Moshe Rabbeinu is Rabban Yisrael, and Moshe Rabbeinu died in that time of Rav the Ravin, right? That time, that special time of Shalosh Shudas, right? There's a special time in the week, right? That's that time of rotzen sheberotzen. That's the time that we feel closest to Hashem. If you think about it, you have to work it. If you don't think about it, you're just thinking, okay, so Shabbos is another hour and 20 minutes, and then I can go back to my regular way, right? But if you think about what's going on here, Shabbos is about to leave. Shabbos is about to leave. And the same way you have when two people, you have two friends, right? They get together and they finally see each other, right? So they it's hard for them to leave each other, right? They're such good friends. It's hard for them to leave. So when it's about time for them to leave, they feel such a longing for one another, right? Can you imagine that, right? You can imagine that. You have such a longing between the two of them. That's Hashem with us, right? Hashem is so close to us on Shabbos, right? And Shabbos is about to leave. Hashem says, no, let's have a Suda together. Let's have that Suda, the third Suda. But that's why there's always such a B'yet Sahara not to eat that Suda, right? I heard that I could learn instead. Yeah.
I did hear that.
Yeah, I could learn instead. Yeah, or I can eat a Danish. I don't have to wash.
I want to save myself for pizza Saturday.
I need to have pizza there. I don't have room, right?
So in other words, those things aren't accurate because I have heard those.
No.
That's the Yitzhak.
It's accurate too.
But these are.
Yitzhak is live and kicking.
You what?
Yitzhak is live and kicking.
Yeah.
So the only way to do Sudas Yishit is to have bread.
Bread, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, lechem mishnah. You take two pieces of bread. Yeah, it's Shabbos.
Well, for a Shalosh Shudas, you need two pieces of bread?
You should always have, on all the Sudas of Shabbos you can. Shalosh Shudas, you could get away with one, but you should always have on Shabbos two. For Malav and Malka, only need one. What?
You're not hungry, like just not.
That's the most beautiful thing. If you're not hungry and you eat anyway,
Because
then you're eating lishma. Then you're eating mamash lishma.
Ay.
No, hold on. Let's just review something. Okay, here we go. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is so happy when it comes Erev Shabbos and we're preparing for Shabbos, right? Right, we're preparing for Shabbos. He shows all the malachim. See all my children. Look, they're all preparing. Okay.
Why does he make the sink back up then?
Oh, because again, I have to my rutzah. No, the sink backs up and there's no hot water and all of that stuff, right? All of that happens because he's testing us. Those are all of the tests. Those are all of the tests. Okay, to see if you really want this, right? Only the person that really wants it has these tests. Then when he's misgaber on the table, he overcomes them. So then things go okay. So then when we come home from shul on Friday night and we're making kiddush, right, and we're sitting down to eat, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu calls all the malachim, all of those, the ones that are always trying to bring prosecution on us, and he says to them, see, they're eating, look at this, they're eating my Suda Shabbos. Oh. So the malachim say to Hashem, well, come on, it was a long week, and the day, and they're hungry, that's why they're eating. They're hungry, they're eating because they're hungry. Hashem says, fine. All right. Comes the morning, and again we go to shul, we come home, and then we sit down to eat the Suda. Hashem calls them over again. And he says to them, no, come on, the rabbi, we had a long speech in shul, and it took a little longer, and they had to go back, and they're hungry, so they're eating. Okay, Hashem says, okay. Then it comes like, let's say when you have the shorter Shabbosim, right? And we're going to sit down and wash. You finished eating your Suda, let's say at 2:30, 3 o'clock, right? And then you have to sit again 3:30, quarter to 4. You're already washing to eat again. Now, hey, so Hashem calls them over. Now, what do you say? They're not hungry no more. They're not hungry because they just finished eating lunch. But why are they eating this Suda? Because I told them to eat 3 Sudas, and that's why they didn't. So the third Suda actually is Poda. It redeems the first 2 Sudas. The third Suda is the one that redeems. That's why there's such a Yetzirah. No. Whatever, we don't need to eat this Suda. We'll eat something later. I'll eat something later, right? Like you said, maybe I want to go to have a pizza, right? I want to have a pizza, right? Because I have one pizza, you just have to wash, right? People make calculations, right? They make calculations. If I eat more than 2 pizzas, 2 slices, you have to wash.
It's not true in most cases.
What?
It's not true in most cases.
What do you
in
mean?
most cases, pizza is amotzi, as is. It's very rare that pizza is mizanot.
Okay, the rule of thumb is if you're having one pizza, it's a mizonot. One slice. That's
Why?
because it's not going to, because you're not going to have a shear or whatever. It's a whole question. Okay. We're not going to get that. We're not going to get into that. But one pizza. The general rule is a mizonos. 2 pizzas you have to wash. That's how it was in America. I don't know. Pizzas here are different sizes, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, different dough, maybe like America. If you do it, the meats or milk.
Meats?
Milk, yeah. If you do it on the juice, if you do your dough on the juice, then maybe.
Yeah, but then there's a lot of people say there's no such a thing anyway. Really, all breads are really still a bread, and you have to wash. It's all okay.
No, they normally you ask the guy at the pizza store, what is this? In most cases, they'll tell you it's amotzi.
The Spartan hold that it's something else. But the point is that people look to get out of washing.
That's the point. Okay, that they're trying to get out of. Oh, this is a mizonos bread, right? This is a mizonos bread.
They want to get out of benching.
They want to get benching. Right?
Here we're learning washing. And when you wash, you have to bench. No, shalom. If you wash, you have to bench.
If the sauce is sweet, then it's mizono.
If the sauce is sweet.
Yeah.
If the dough is sweetened with fruit juice, let's say, so
The whole pizza or just one
I
slice?
think the whole.
Okay. Well, the different the Sfardim Teimanim there. We have different rules that we have, but whatever. Either way, it's all good. Whatever your customs are. Okay. The point is that people try to get out of washing. They don't want to wash. But we said that the problem is if a person's been zalzel washing, he brought the Gemara. He can take a person from this world and makes a person poor. It brings a person to poverty. Can you believe that, Yanni? A person can lose his business deal because he didn't wash his hands.
However, if you want to do that,
could you imagine that? If everyone understand that?
Yeah.
I'm making a business deal now, so I'm gonna go wash. They'll think they're crazy. What are you doing? No, because if I wash, it saves me from poverty. I want to be successful, so I'm gonna go have a sandwich.
Yeah. My father told me that once, and also to wash
Up to the wrist.
Up to the wrist.
Yeah.
I never.
No, he's right.
I never missed the wrist to wash. After you told me it has to do with your parnassa and shefa and all that, and
it'll cure your problem with the IRS if you do it up to the wrist.
well, I've been doing it up.
No, because really you have to use only 5 ounces of water. That's a revias. But you take a big, our cups are much bigger, right? Because you want to have more mei chesed.
Yeah.
More mei chesed, the water of chesed, you want to put it onto the hands, okay? Okay.
Wait, couldn't it be also this, because now I might use that to only eat 1 piece of pizza because I want my health to get better, so therefore I'll consider it mizonot. In other words, I'm not doing it because I don't want to do benching, or it's not doing it because I don't want to wash my hands. I'm doing it because I don't want to eat a lot, and that will put a boundary around me so that'll help me not eat any more pizza.
So take along with you and have a pita, right? That's certainly bread. right? It's considered bread by everyone, by Temanim too, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's bread. Okay, that's bread. Good. So wash on your piece of pizza and then eat your pizza.
Not in Pesach.
No, but they have soft matzahs anyway, like a pizza. What?
No, on Pesach you say amutza, right?
Yeah.
On pita.
And our pizza, you mean our matzah?
Your matzahs are soft, right? You have soft matzah, right? You have
Very
soft matzah.
soft, yeah.
Very soft, fluffy matzahs, right?
Yes.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I never even tried that. I'd like you. Do you have any of it still?
We don't have any of it now, but
Oh,
I'm
okay.
happy to give it to you before. My father brought it all the way to San Diego with him.
Oh my
like,
goodness.
10 or 12 matzahs. He went through great measures to get into the kitchen and with the meshgichim and you know, and he came out with it and he opened it up and it's like just like mamish like pita, hot pita bread. It doesn't
Unbelievable.
taste like pita.
Yeah.
It doesn't taste like pita, but it's,
No, okay.
it's really like something fascinating to eat a soft
Soft matzah. Yeah.
Most probably was the original.
That's probably how it was. Yeah, but okay.
The Mishnah says if they mixed up between matzah and bread, so
How could you mix it up, right?
It's obvious nowadays, right?
Yeah. Our matzahs here. Yeah, our matzahs you could
I
use
was
it.
this year at the matzah baker filming, and one of the shifts they did Sephardi matzah.
Oh
It
yeah.
was like, it was like that thick, you know.
Very
Yeah,
thick.
Yeah, like not that, maybe like, but thick, like
But so how does it bake through? How does it
same
bake?
thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, yeah.
Okay.
Just the same timing was, but
Yeah, but
just thicker.
I understand. So if it needs more time, if something's thicker, it needs more time in the oven, doesn't it?
It was just fast, super fast, everything.
No, because if you bake something thin or you bake something thick, the thin one will go.
Yeah, I understand, but still, it's like.
Okay, whatever. Then we're getting off the okay. She yiska b'shleimus b'chinas aretz harotzon shezev tachlas hashleimus. Oh no, right. Rotzon sheberotzon. Okay. V'hadam arisha nivra sheyagia tekif lemala zu b'shleimus b'chinas rotzon. Adam Moshe was created to come to this place of rotzon, Rava de Rava, where Moshe Rabbeinu worked his whole life to come to that place of rotzon, that Rava de Rava, that place of rotzon sheberotzon. Moshe Rabbeinu came to that. Adam Rishon could have accomplished that right then and there. With another 3-4 hours when Shabbos was going to be, he could have fixed it. It would have been all done. Everything would have been, the tikkun would have been made. Baal Kain ha'yishivoi teika began Eden v'yatzav olav mikola eitz hagan ochol toichel. From all the trees of the gan, ochol toichel. You can eat, surely eat them. Eat from whatever you want. Why was he commanded to eat from all the other trees? Right? He had a commandment. Don't eat from this one, but eat from all these other trees. Wasn't the main thing not to do the one prohibition? There was one prohibition, not to eat from the Eitz Hadas Tovara. So why does Hashem command them from the trees? Mikol eitz hagan oichel toichel. Devadei shara yilonois shelo yehuzar aleim mi yimanoi memelechel mehem. Who's going to prevent them from eating them? Right? Who's going to prevent Adam Rishon from eating from those trees? Why was he commanded for that? But now to understand this, Achilas Peres Atzay Hagan Eden. Them eating the fruits from Gan Eden. Can we understand that where he was in Gan Eden? Where we talk about Gan Eden, right? We want to get to Gan Eden. Adam Rishon was created in Gan Eden. He was a human being in Gan Eden. Right? Amazing, right? Think about it, right? He was kicked out of Gan Eden. Kiheim achila de kedusha, bechinas achila shemeya bayaris arotzen. All the other trees and everything else in Gan Eden was illuminating, would illuminate the rotzen, that will, the desire to be with Hashem, to be one with Hashem. Shal yedei achila kazu boyim letachlis hashlemas shezeika achila Shabbos achila saman. That's the same thing as when we eat on Shabbos. The food that we eat on Shabbos is not the same food that we eat during the week. The food on Shabbos is much higher. During the week, the food is much lower than us. That's why we learned it's very important you don't eat before you daven, because you have to be able to have the ability to raise the food up. You have to have the ability to raise the food up. How do you get the ability to raise the food up? By davening. By learning Torah, you can have the ability to find there's a hastara in the food, to reveal the hastara that's really Hashem. I need but Shabbos, the food is on a higher, very, very high level. Macholei Shabbos on a very, very, very high level, the food can actually lift us up. Right? When you eat your food on Shabbos, the food can actually lift you up. Unbelievable, to lift up a person spiritually when he eats his food on Shabbos because he's eating on Shabbos. It's fascinating. You can have. Let's say a person made a meatloaf and he had it in the refrigerator from Tuesday, right? And it's still good. So Friday night decides to eat the meatloaf, right? He wants to. It's good. No problem. He likes meatloaf. Well, maybe okay. Right? So he has it. That's not the same meatloaf that it was on Tuesday. Now it has it there. The meatloaf was elevated. It's not the same food. The food is higher. The food in Gan Eden, on the tree, the food was such holy food. He could have eaten that. It was like eating the food from Shabbos. It was like eating the man. The man is the lechem abirin. The man was the machal of the food of the angels, the angelic food, special food. It brought us closer to Hashem. That's why the what do you call it? The generation of the Midbar were known as the Dor Deya. They were the generation of knowledge. They had knowledge. They had the Rotzen because they were eating man. They were eating manna. They were eating the manna. They weren't eating regular food. Here we go. Shabbos bechilas haman. Ki haman she'ochli Yisrael hu bechinas achila shehi kulai bechinas aretz harotzen hu bechinas ma. Right? They said, what is this? They asked, what is this? So man. They said ma. What is this? Man. Ma. Right? The Bechinas Moshe K'Moshe is bar b'Maimer. Moshe Rabbeinu also said, "Ma Hashem Elokecha Shoyim L'Lecha." Right, Ki in Liyira. Right, this is the same idea of Ma. Right, 45. Right, Ki Al Shem Zeh Nikra Man. It's called Man. Ki Lo Yodu Mahi. They didn't know what it was. They didn't know what the man was. Mahi. What is this stuff? I'm eating this, but what is it? Mahi. What is it? Ki Aman Yared B'Schus Moshe, because the man came down in the merit of Moshe, right? We had the water in the desert, was the schus of Miriam, right? The water, the rolling stone, right? We had that rolling stone in the desert, right? The rolling stone, right? That was B'Schus Miriam. The man came down it was the merit of Miriam. Miriam was her merit that we had the water. But we had the man. The man was on the merit of Moshe. Moshe gave us the merit of the man.
So what does it represent then, the man?
The man is the Ratzon. Moshe Rabbeinu is Ratzon. So the man is the Ratzon, because Moshe Rabbeinu had that Ratzon, that desire, that will to be with Hashem, that desire. So the man came down from that thing. So when we ate it, we felt the same thing. Bechinas haaretz haratzim. V'zeh bechinas achilas Shabbos, shehu bechinas achilas man. How do you like that? When you eat your food on Shabbos, it's like you're eating man. Isn't that beautiful? Come on, is that beautiful? The food you're eating on Shabbos is like eating man. It has that rotzen built into it. Isn't that beautiful? K'moshe kosav hayomer Moshe echlu hayoim. Eat today, right? Moshe Rabbeinu said, take a double portion. Take a double portion when it came to Shabbos, right? So you'd have what you need for Shabbos. Normally, we couldn't take more man, right? You can only take what you needed for the day. Moshe Rabbeinu told us that the man won't fall on Shabbos. So take a double portion. That's why we take a lechem mishnah, by the way. On Shabbos, we have the 2 chalas. Because of the lechem mishnah, we had the double portion. So we take the lechem mishnah. And you know that when you have, I'll tell you something else. It's like man, right? We all cover our challah, correct? We all cover our challah, and we all have our challah on a challah board, right? So we think we have our challah on the challah board because it's practical, right? I have to cut the challah. So I need a board or something to cut it on, a plate or something to cut it on. No, but that's not the man. When it fell, there was dew underneath, and then there was dew that fell on top of it. And the man was in the middle. So the chalas, as a lechem mishnah, is in the middle. You have the board underneath is like the dew that came underneath, the towel that came underneath, and then you have the challah cover, which is the cover that was the towel that came on top. And therefore, the whole process is the same as it was with the man. So the whole idea of eating on Shabbos is like eating the lechem abir and the special food. Shenemar alachilas man anu lemeidim. Misham anu lemeidim. We learn ikar achilas Shabbos k'may shalamdu Rabbi Seinu zchon levracha mimikra zeh lechol sholei sudas b'Shabbos. You have to eat 3 meals on Shabbos. Ki achilas Shabbos hu bechinas man. Because it's like the man kamuva ubeshvil zeh manichim pas bein shtei mapos zecher leman. Like I just said before, I put it between 2 napkins, 2 things. We use a board, whatever, but shtei mapos, two coverings, 2 types of coverings for that reason.
Well, I don't understand that.
What don't you understand?
Well, it's the reason we place bread between 2 cloths. Why do we put the bread between 2 cloths?
I just explained to you.
I didn't understand that though.
Dew fell. Dew fell. The man came on top of the dew, and then there was another layer of dew that fell on top of the man. Okay. So the board that we have underneath our challah is like that first layer of dew.
Okay.
Then the challahs, the 2 challahs that you put there, that's like the man. That's the man. And then you put the cover over the challah, that's like the man, the dew that fell over the man. You understand? Got it now?
Yeah, they didn't say that here. I don't know why. But yes, I have it now.
I know, but so if you would listen, I keep explaining it, but you're reading, but it doesn't help that, okay, whatever. Ki achilas Shabbos hu kulai bechinas ratzon, ki Shabbos hu bechinas ratzon. Shabbos, the whole idea of Shabbos is that ratzon, that connection that we have, we're bound one with Hashem on Shabbos. Right? We take away all of the things that are inundating us all week long. We're so inundated with so many things. We put that all away. And it's just we're one together with Hashem on Shabbos. Bechinas bahava v'rotzon hinchaltanu. Right, like we say in the Kiddush, "B'hava rotza nichal tonu b'chinas rava deravin shen is gala b'Shabbos." It's where it's revealed on Shabbos. This is brought in the Pri-Eitz Chaim in the place where he speaks about the Shar of Shabbos. Ki achilas Shabbos zeh b'chinas onek Shabbos. Because when I eat on Shabbos, that's onek Shabbos. Onek is very important when you have onek Shabbos. Why? Because you take the word nega, right? We learned this idea. You take the word nega, you can scramble the letters, and you can turn it into oneg. How do you like that? Take nega. Nega means I have a blemish, a tsaras, nega tsaras, right? We had the person had the leprosy, whatever you call it, leprosy. It wasn't exactly leprosy, but that's what we understand it. You take the nega and you can transform the nega into oneg. That's why the tzarua had to be locked away for at least a Shabbos. So he would have the ability to recognize, to come to that rotzen, right? He would come to that rotzen, come to that closeness with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Via coming to that closeness, he would be able to take his nega, his how do you say nega in English? What's the right word? His blemish is
impurity.
Is what?
Impurity?
No, nega tzarat. What would you say? How would you say nega tzarat in English?
Tzarat is like leprosy, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't exist today.
No, keep it. We have nega. A person has like a blemish, some kind of blemish. Can you say blemish? Maybe blemish, a blemish, okay? You take the blemish and turn it into einek, joy, delight, bliss, right? Bechinas oz tisaneg al Hashem, as we have in the song, oz tisaneg al Hashem, right? Then oz we're going to be means aneg will delight with Hashem al Hashem. Zeh bechinas rotzen. Through this is that is what rotzen is. That is the idea of Ratzon. It's such a beautiful understanding to understand this thing. Now, I think we're going to stop with this over here.
Yeah, I have a very important question though.
It's getting a little late, yes. Can you just mark the place? We're gonna pick it up tomorrow where it says Ki Oinig Ze Eden Nahar Agan.
They
Okay?
say that a blemish is pagam.
Yeah.
In the Google Translate, whatever that's worth.
What's that?
Pagam is blemish.
I said, okay, so I agree with, okay, they agree with me. Okay, good,
Yeah.
okay.
So, if I understand what's saying here, desire, ratzon, mana
It's all the same.
is all the same, and it all helps you with your will.
Your will
With
to
your
want to have a will to
and-
want,
and desire.
exactly.
And you can do that by talking to Hashem.
You could do that by talking to Hashem and washing your hands for eating bread.
But, so hitbadadu, I never got that before when I was taught about hitbadadu.
Okay.
And I'm saying it because I learned this thing from a test, and this woman was trying to figure out what is will? Where does will come from? How does that get created? She could never figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is helping me, in a sense, understand.
When you study something,
want.
when you study something, you speak about something, it can cause you to want that thing, right? How does
I didn't know.
Okay. How does advertisement work? How does advertisement work? They show you a picture of something. I want that. I have a will for that.
Yeah.
How does that? What's the point of advertising?
So we need to advertise to ourselves through Hashem.
Yes, but that is exactly. So when you make things vivid in your mind, you work on the what do you call it, the medame, the koyach hamedame, the imagination. You make things so then you desire it. Yeah, that's how it works. Yes.
Trouble is our imagination is so taken up with nourishment.
No, but that's what we
No,
have to.
that's
We
what
have
you
to.
do
We have to
with
work.
and
We have
wash
to
your
work.
hands.
No, we have to work on our imagination constantly. Every day we learn. We have to start again every day. Every day is a new day, fresh day. So every day I can take my mitzvahs that I do. That's why in the morning we do these great mitzvahs. We put on our talis. We put on our tefillin to get that in our minds. To fill into our minds. We saw Kriyas HaTorah. You see the Torah today. You saw the letters of the Torah. Oh, that's what's important. So you start imagining for those things. That's how it works, okay? All about Ratzon. Okay, let's learn Halacha. So we're learning now in Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, we're learning the Yud Tes, Siman Yud Tes, which is the laws of Mashav Ruach Meirid Atol. And then we're learning Yalav Yavin. Okay, here we go.
Number 3.
We're up to 3 today. Right? So there are places that in the summertime, right? Like now, we're in the summer now, right? So in the summer, we're after Pesach, so we say the Mashav Baruch Meirid Atol, right? Maybe we don't say Mashav Baruch, but we say Meirid Atol, okay? But there are some places that say Mashav Baruch u'Meirid Atol. Im Tov Omar Kain Gam B'Chayrev. What happens if it was in the summer, right? And then he finished Shmini Atzeres, right? He came to Shmini Atzeres, and they switched it over to Mashav to Mashav Baruch Meirid Hageshem, right? Now he made a mistake. Im loy niskar ad la'achar shama baruch ato Hashem goy me'habrocha mechayim mesim ve'ein tzarich lachzor b'shvil haskaras hageshem. You don't have to go back to remember the Geshem because the Geshem is somewhat, so to say, included in the Tal. Mashav Baruch Meirid Atal, he said. He didn't say Geshem, but Tal and Geshem it's not like saying nothing. It's not like saying, okay. Kiven Shekvar Hiskir Tal, because he said Tal. He said Tal. V'ach im niska mikoidim she'amar es Hashem. But let's say he remembered, he caught himself before he said Baruch Atah Hashem, before he said Hashem's name. So what does he do? So if he's not if he's in a, like we said yesterday, if you're saying Mekayim emunasai l'sheinei ofar, if you're saying Mekayim emunasai, HaKadosh Baruch Hu fulfills the emuna. To what? You shouldn't say Mashruch Mayrid Geshem over there. You're supposed to finish saying Mekayim and also l'sheirei offer to those that are dwelling in the earth, the ones that are dead. Hakadosh Baruch Hu Mekayim their munah to them that He's going to wake them up. Is v'kitzu ranu sheich le'offer, right? Hakadosh Baruch Hu is going to cause there'll be a resurrection of the dead. You understand? You shouldn't say it there. Say it, but you should say it after you finish saying that. Then say Mashruch Mayrid Geshem. You understand? Or Mayrid Atol, whatever the case is in that case. So that's the idea over there. Then you can say the Mayrid Geshem. Okay, we'll stop over there. And I wish everyone a wonderful day. Thank you for joining. And we should all have tonight a beautiful Lag Baimer, Metz Hashem Yisbarach. And we should have a Besorah Tovot.